I, Lal Hare Murari Nath Sahdev, once again welcome you all students back to my class. Students, we have already studied some of the poetic devices as pre-reading to this poem Leisure. The reason is that we can understand this poem better if we have some of those tools in our mind which can sharpen our understanding to the poem. So you have to remember them for better understanding of the poem. Now it's the time for us to analyze the poem. Since you have already gone through this text of the poem, you know it that it is in the form of couplets. There are 7 couplets, and so the total number of lines is 14. Some learners, some analyzers of the poem consider it to be a sonnet. This may be possible because it has 14 lines, then deals with a single topic, but I don't find that it is comparable to any of the former sonnets proper. That's why it's better for us to understand the poem in the form of couplets. Couplet is that form of poem or a part of any poem which has 2 lines, and these 2 lines are tied with each other because they express the single idea, and at the same time the first line rhymes with the other. Now let us see the meaning and at the same time the poetic devices together while discussing each of the couplets. Now look at the first couplet. Now look at the first couplet. What is this life if full of care we have no time to stand and stare? Now children, you know it, what is the meaning of care? What is the meaning of care? Care means worries, anxieties, a kind of obsession for performing some or many pieces of work within a very short span of time. And then we have another word, stare. Stare means look at. Stare is another word which means to look at. I have already told you that this poem has started, it has begun with one poetic device which is known as rhetoric. The poet tells that if the life is full of cares, anxieties, worries, an obsession with the difficulties of life to come in time to come, then this life is meaningless. Such a life having many of the problems and not at all any time to stand and to look at the beauty of the nature, the surrounding which is very colorful, then life is useless. Rhetoric, you must have understood. What is this life is full of care? We have no time to stand and stare. If we have no time to take respite, no time to think upon what we have observed, and life full of worries, then this life has no significance. Next couplet, no time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. Now here, again we find one word, boughs. Bough is a branch. Boughs means branches of a tree or of trees. In this couplet also, you find the reiteration, the repetition of the same idea which the poet has started in his first couplet. It can be stated to be the other couplet following the first one to complete the meaning. To some extent, this second couplet is run on couplet for the first one. No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. Now here, the poet has compared the human beings with the time of the sheep or cows. I mean to say that the poet has tried here to compare the time of human beings with the time of sheep or cows. He says that this life is again meaningless if we can't stay beneath any tree, beneath the branches of any tree, and then we can stay at that place exactly like sheep or cows who have enough time to cogitate, to meditate what they have seen. If we have no time, even as much as sheep or cows, then again this life is meaningless. To some extent, here the poet has stated that sheep or cows are better than us if they have the time to think about what they have seen, and we don't have the pleasure of the time to again recapitulate what we have seen, what we have felt. Now, the next couplet. The next couplet, no time to see when would we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass. Here, the poet leads you to the lap of nature, where you find that there are so-called small creatures. Many small creatures are there, but they are very clever. They try to store some of the things for the time of need, for the time when they won't have any other option. In that case, they would use their stored things. The poet suggests you here to learn something from the squirrels, from the sportive, very small creatures found in nature. When they find something more than their need, they hide the leftover things under the grass. Especially, squirrels are very fond of nuts. So, they hide their nuts under the grass or in the grass. The poet says, if we don't have the time, especially when we have to pass through any jungle, then again this life is useless. It doesn't have any meaning. Look at here, one term, one word. Woods here means not the cleft piece of wood, not any small log of wood. It is forest, it is jungle. If we have to pass through the jungles, and if we don't have the time to see the squirrels hiding their nuts in grass, then again this life is meaningless. Because in that case, we won't understand the importance of storing of the things. The wisdom of a small creature which has got the name squirrel. He shows his wisdom by keeping the things in its position for any difficult time, whether it may be any rainy season when it would be difficult to go out to any long distance, or it may be possible that in case of any weakness, the squirrels won't be able to search out, find out their food. Sometimes there is scarcity also of the food, and so the squirrels, when they have the abundance of nuts, they hide the leftover nuts under the grass, and thus they get ready for such a time when they will need the food without spending any more time. Instantly they can get the food. That's what they try to do for their situation to be ameliorated. Now, look at the next one. Now, in this next couplet, you find one term, streams. Stream is either a small rivulet or a kind of a small river. The poet has to tell here, or the poet wants to tell you again that we must enjoy in rural areas, in river areas, or in the rivulets themselves, the beauty of the sky, even during the broad daylight. Generally, we don't see the stars in any water body during the day in the scorching sun, but there are some instances when, if one goes close to any river, and if the river is shallow, in that case, even in the presence of sunlight, even in the presence of sun, we see the stars present in the sky into the water. And this beauty is really that beauty which one can enjoy a lot. Those who have city life and not at all the time to go inside the nature, they don't enjoy such sights. But if we have time and if we can go to such places where we have the shallow water in rivulets, in fountains, then we can have the rapture, the pleasure of looking at the stars in the water while there is sun, exactly like we see the stars on the skies during the night. Here, the poetic device seemingly has been used, streams full of stars like skies at night. This is what you have to understand very well. In the former couplet, no time to see when woods we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts and grass, you are able to find one poetic device. This is called alliteration. When woods we. Wa sound, W sound has been used thrice. And so that is the poetic device there, and here seemingly has been used. Streams full of stars like skies at night. No time to see in broad daylight. Streams full of stars like skies at night. Here you find another poetic device also, which again is alliteration, because sa you are looking at least 3 places in a single line. And if you consider this couplet to be a unit, then at least 4 times sa sound has been repeated. So this is alliteration. Once again you see, the poet takes you to the fountains, to the streams, to the rivulets, where he informs you that in broad daylight one can look at the stars full in numbers into these water bodies, exactly like the stars you see studded everywhere in the sky at night. Just as the sky is filled with twinkling stars at night, the same sort of sight can be observed in streams during the daylight. Simply we need to look at the beauty of the night during the day in some water body, in some rivulet, in some other kind of water storage. Now let us move to another couplet. Now look at no time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet how they can dance. Here you find the term beauty written with capital V. You know it that when a term is personified, in most cases, personified term is written with capital. In some instances, there are exceptions also, but at least here it has been done, and at other places also the poets do it. The beauty stands here for the beauty of nature, or beautiful nature you can say. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet how they can dance. The poet again reiterates the same rhetoric. What is this life if full of care? We have no time to stand and stare. What does he want to stand and stare? The beauty of the nature, the purity of the surrounding, the immaculateness of the flowers, fruits, herbs, everything which are available in nature. The poet has compared the nature to a beautiful lady. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet how they can dance. Here one can say that beauty is fun also, because it has more than one meaning. Beauty means beautifulness of nature, and beauty is character herself. In terms of a lady, beautiful lady, according to the poet. So here you find multiple. Beauty to some extent can be considered to be a metaphor also. It is in direct comparison between anything very beautiful and at the same time the beauty of the nature. So you find the multiple of poetic device used in this poem. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet how they can dance. Again, the poet repeats that if we have no time to see the beauty of nature, the chance to see her feet moving in cadence, moving according to the sounds nearby, and the way the nature can dance, the beautiful nature or the beautiful lady can dance, then again life is useless. If in presence of the beauty all around, the floral beauty, the fauna's beauty, the beauty of the efflorescence, the beauty of the small plants, the herbs, the aromas around us, if we can't enjoy all of them, then this life is again useless. So it is the poet's suggestion that we must see the dancing nature, the dancing twigs, dancing nature in terms of, suppose, the dance of the peacocks, the dance of the branches, sometimes even the dance of the sight sounds, sometimes the ripples we find dancing in the water. So these are the beautiful dances of nature. If we don't have the time to look at such a beautiful dance, the lively movement of the feet of the dancer, the beauty's dancer, the beautiful lady's dancer, the beautiful nature's dancer, dance, then this life is again meaningless. Now let us move to another couplet. This is no time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began. Here the poet continues the beauty of the nature. He tells the readers that the lady's mouth is very beautiful, and that beauty of the mouth has been enhanced more by the genial smile of her. Her eyes are also very beautiful, quite hazel, marvelous eyes, which are enough to attract the attention of any passerby. The poet says that such a beauty, if remains unappreciated by us because of our hurry and bustle life, then this life has no any purport, no any meaning at all. That's why it's very necessary that we must look at the beauty of the nature, must appreciate her, must help her to develop that heavenly bliss on her face which she has already imbibed from God. If we can do this help to nature, if we can be together a part and parcel of this beautiful lady in terms of nature, then our life is definitely meaningful. Otherwise, this whole life running after some kind of worries, some kind of avaricious intentions will definitely be abortive without having any sense in it. And now this next couplet. A poor life this, if full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. A poor life. The poet considers this life, this mundane life, this avaricious life, this life which wants more and more of the things alone and no pleasure at all, no satisfaction anywhere. Then, in his opinion, this life is very poor. This life will present a poverty amongst the plenty. That will be the situation. Even if we have many resources, even if we are very rich, because we have the physical things, the worldly things in plenty, but we can't enjoy this plenty, then this life will never be very prosperous. For this reason, the poet suggests us to have some time to look at the beauty of nature, to stand somewhere at some very appreciable place of her, and then to look at, to have a glance of her beauty. This is how you find that the poet wants everyone to have some leisure, to have some respite. Why? Because if we can spare some time from our work, in that case, we can think about our observations. We can meditate about what is needed to add to the luster of nature. If we have some time taken out from our hurry and bustle life, that time can be used for finding out the solutions of problems which the nature suffers from. We can solve our own problems also if we have some time to think about, to meditate about what we have observed, what we have the resources to supply the wants, the needs of life. That's why, in the opinion of the famous poet Davis, leisure is very important. This leisure must not be misused. This leisure should be used to add something to enhance the beauty of nature. And if we are instrumental in beautifying the nature, God will bestow His blessings upon us. We will also prosper. Giving some assistance to nature is gaining some assistance from nature. So we must have some leisure, some spare time to use to enhance the beauty, the chastity, the wholeness of the nature. If nature is beautiful, we being components of her, we also will be beautiful, we also will be handsome, we also will prosper with her. There will be prosperity everywhere and no poverty, no any kind of moroseness either in our life or even anything bad around it. It's all right, children. Now I expect you must have understood the couplets, and still if you have any problem you can consult me. Again I would like to repeat any particular piece of couplet if it is needed. Thank you very much. Now wait for the other video when we will take up any other important topic or any worksheet which will be helpful to us.